Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Dan and Kev's Wrestling Talk Show. It's been a couple of weeks, mate, so we've got a lot, we've got a lot
Has,
to,
yeah,
got a lot
has.
to catch up on really, because we've missed what,
On,
like
yeah,
2 weeks, missed 2 weeks
yeah,
worth. So
yeah. It's been mad as well because we've had sort of Crown Jewel and closure of Ring of Honor and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
been a bit of a busy couple of weeks.
yeah. There's a hell of a lot to catch up on. So I think everyone keep your eyes peeled because we'll probably be having to drop another video within the next few days to just get ourselves caught up because we've missed that bloody much. But these things happen when you've got families and work and stuff. Sometimes. Sometimes it's just not. It's difficult. It's difficult getting both of us free at the same time as well. So
At the moment, at the moment, because coming into Christmas, which is like the busiest period. Like that, so yeah, but we'll get up there. We'll get there. We'll get there. Where do you want to start?
there you go. Sorry, my headset's being stupid. So I think where do you want to start? Crown Jewel.
Yeah, Crown Jewel. Yeah, I thought it was a much better pay per view than I was expecting. I enjoyed it.
It was a great pay per view. Like I don't want to, it was a phenomenal pay per view. But the whole thing kind of frustrates me a little bit because when you look at that card that they put together, in my opinion, that card was probably better than the last couple of years of WrestleMania. That card was WrestleMania worthy. There was that many top matches on it. I just find it a little bit frustrating that they pull out all the stops for Saudi.
Yeah.
Whenever they come to the UK. Now, I know that they're planning on doing a pay-per-view next year, but still, every single wrestler has always said that they always feel like their second home is the UK. Excuse me, because of how passionate we are over here. They love coming to Europe, but they love coming to the UK in particular because of how passionate the wrestling fans are in the UK, and they never ever try that hard for us. And I think something else that we kind of have to take into consideration as well. They don't try that hard for their own fans, the people that go in, week out.
Yeah.
But because they go into Saudi, it's like we're not pulling any punches. We're going all out, and it's just like, why can't you do that for your home fans? Why can't you do that for bloody WrestleMania, for example? But because they do seem to do this every time they go to Saudi. I mean, the fact that we know that Undertaker was there because he obviously introduced Pitbull onto stage. I'm amazed that they didn't use him in the show. I'm amazed that they didn't use him for the show. But but apart from that, like I said, I can't just. I had to say something because it really frustrates me because why do that why do something that good because you're in Saudi Arabia whenever you go to anywhere else in the world or whenever you're in, when you're in your home country and you're putting on shows for the fans that have supported you week in, week out for decades, it's like, whatever, But all that aside, it was a phenomenal pay-per-view.
Oh yeah.
Phenomenal.
It started off. There were some iffy moments, but apart from that, I think it was really good matchup. So I was surprised with Goldberg and Bobby Lashley.
I was surprised by how much Goldberg did,
and how strong Lashley came over as well.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to let Goldberg win, and he was just going to steamroller it. But actually, they actually wrestled properly a little bit.
It was a good match. It was a really good match, and it just goes to show it's like. But he did. I mean, he did run headfirst into the steel post again, and he cut his head open again. Luckily, this time he didn't actually knock himself out. But I'm thinking, Bill, 2 years ago you did this, and you nearly killed the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Just Like what? But it was to the same corner and all. It was to the exact same corner, and he whacked his head off it again. Lunatic. I think the only match that I kind of thought was a bit pants was Zelina Vega and Doudrop. That match was always going to be difficult because
it was a women's match, and it was just, you know, if you've ever followed Piper's sort of journey before she come in WWE, she was doing the Indies, and she was in World of Sport, which was on ITV. The short-lived ITV wrestling show that they put on, and she was on that as well. And she's never held the main title. She never held the women's title on World of Sport, should I say? She never won the NXT UK title. She never won the NXT women's title, and she seems to always come up short. And it's frustrating when you're watching her. You're like, she should be winning. A girl that size going through them. And it's like,
look, I think she has the same issue that Nia Jax had, and that's that stylistically, it doesn't make for a good wrestling viewing. It just doesn't. Like, and there's nothing that you can do to change that. It's like one of the most bizarre matches because it did actually work was Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss at Wrestlemania a few years ago. It weren't great, but it was actually a good match, and it's credit for them to making it work, because when you've got Alexa Bliss who's 5 foot and you've got Nia Jax who's about 6'1" and massive, it's the same issue with Doudrop. I think she's great for the world of wrestling, but that, you know, young girls are looking at Doudrop, and it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how much you weigh. It doesn't matter if you're overweight. You know, none of this shit matters. You know, and I think she's really important as a role model to young girls. But I think when it's Doudrop and Zelina Vega, what should have happened with Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss, unfortunately, happened, and that's that I really like Doudrop or Piper, never know, whatever you want to call her. And I do actually like Zelina Vega. I feel like Zelina Vega gets slept on a little bit. I think she's a better technical wrestler than what people actually give her credit for. I'm not saying that she's fantastic. I'm saying that she's better than what a lot of people give her credit for.
Wondering whether they've said to her, you know, we made a mistake letting you go, and this is what we're going to build you to, because she actually said after, I think she tweeted out or was on Instagram, and she put that after the match, Vince McMahon came up to her and said, you arrived back in WWE as the Queen, and now you're definitely leaving it as the Queen.
Yeah, so, I think it was the right winner. I think, unfortunately, Shayna Baszler, Zelina Vega would have been a miles better match. But I think the problem WWE had was they wanted Zelina Vega to win the crown. So she'd not won a match in years. She'd not won a singles match in years. So I think they wanted to give her something. The
problem is she was on Raw the following week or the Monday, and they've got her in the same role as Baron Corbin. So she comes out with the crown on, and she uses the scepter to win. And it's like, hang on, you're carbon copy in there. You know,
but they've done this for years, Kev. Yeah, but they've done this for years. This is like people are mixing up what King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournament means now. Like
it doesn't. It's not as meaningful as it was before.
Like people are going, you know, Stone Cold won it and Triple H won it, and you're like, yeah, but look back at when Triple H and Stone Cold won it. It was right at the start of their careers. It's what launched them onto that next level. But back then, it meant something as a stepping stone. Whereas over the last decade, when they have done the King of the Ring tournament, whoever's won it, it's been a gimmick. Like what they did with Baron Corbin for the last 18 months sums up that how WWE officials view this tournament now is when you win it, we want you to go and do this obnoxious, arrogant gimmick. Now, they're obviously not going to do that with Xavier Woods, but my point is, and this is what confuses me, I would have liked Shayna Baszler to win it purely because I'm quite old school. How it catapulted Triple H and Stone Cold off onto that higher level. That's what I think they should have done with Shayna Baszler. Like, they don't have to give her a gimmick. So she's won the Queen's Crown tournament. You don't have to keep announcing her as Queen Shayna. Maybe do it for a couple of weeks, but she doesn't have to then turn that into a gimmick. But it can catapult her onto another level, because this is a woman who dominated NXT. She came up. She attacked Becky Lynch and bit her, which was nasty. She then is the only person ever, man or woman, to ever go into Elimination Chamber and beat all 5 opponents. No one has ever done it. No man has ever done that. She's the only person to ever eliminate every opponent. They really, really strapped a rocket ship to her ass and was really getting behind her and pushing her. And then something changed, and she's just gone right back down there. But I think, but I think the way that the officials want this Queen's Crown tournament to be, which is what they're doing with Happy Carbon, is I think it's great for Zelina Vega. You give Zelina Vega something, and Zelina Vega is great to carry that Corbin gimmick forward that they clearly want from it. But here's my dilemma, right? Is they clearly had Doudrop in that match, because if you have Shayna in the final, Shayna kind of has to win it. I think they can kind of hide behind Doudrop knocking her out in the semis, as Doudrop's a big girl and she got the better of her for 3 seconds. And the fact that it was a roll up, to me, I don't find it so unbelievable that someone the size of Doudrop is capable of holding Shayna down for 3 seconds. She's not knocked her out, she's not beat her outright, but the sheer size that Doudrop is, she's capable of pinning any woman down, apart from Nia Jax. But then the other side of the argument and the dilemma is, you did have Finn Balor in the men's final, so it's the same argument as Shayna Baszler. If you have Shayna Baszler in the final, she kind of has to win it. Well, they did have Finn Balor in it, and when it's Finn Balor versus Xavier Woods, now when you think Finn Balor's just took Roman Reigns this close twice, to have him beat clean off Xavier Woods, it's like, what does that do for Balor?
That's what I was thinking. He beat him clean, like you said.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that was in a program recently with Roman Reigns, and before then he was NXT champion and going up and having some great matches, and he's just lost clean to Xavier Woods, which is good for Xavier Woods.
Exactly.
But I don't know what it does for his character for Finn Balor.
Many dilemmas, but there's so many dilemmas with the whole thing, because you now can't have Shayna wasn't in the final, even though Shayna and Zelina would have been a better match, but they didn't do it, because if you've got Zelina in the final, Zelina's got to win, and Shayna's got to win. And they obviously wanted Zelina to do that Corbin Queen, that arrogant, obnoxious, annoying gimmick that they want everyone that wins King of the Ring to do. For example, men's, and I will stand by this, if Sami Zayn was actually allowed in Saudi Arabia, or if the final of it was held on a Raw or SmackDown, I honestly think that they would have given it to Sami Zayn, because when you look at Sami Zayn's character, it fits that mold of what WWE want from a type of. What they want to do is they want to take a character that is underused, that hasn't really been given much for a few years, but that can pull off that obnoxious, irritating, arrogant character that Corbin did so well. That's what they want from it. It's not back in. It's not 92 anymore. It's not 95 anymore, where Stone Cold wins it, and then 3 months later is holding the bloody title up. Like, they don't do that anymore. It's almost become like a bit of a joke, and they need to go back to the way it used to be. But yeah, with Finn Balor being in that final, I was like, well, Finn's got to win, because and it's not just like people. I've seen people on Twitter saying, yeah, but it was the Demon that took Roman so close. Yeah, but what about 2 weeks earlier when it was just Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns? He still nearly beat him. The only reason why Finn didn't beat him in a match is because the Usos got involved.
Yeah.
It hit the coup de grace. It was about to get the 1, 2, 3, and the Usos come and interrupted. So when I say Finn Balor took Roman Reigns there twice, Finn Balor took Roman Reigns this close to winning, taking the belt off him twice. So why then a week later is he getting beat off Xavier Woods? Now, again, the dilemma is, I'm happy for Xavier Woods. I don't like that the thing that's been going around for the last 5 years. You've seen it as much as I have, Kev. Xavier's a third wheel. Xavier's the worst one of the three. Is the poor one of the New Day. I think Xavier Woods is actually a lot better in the ring than what people give him credit for. I think I'm going to make myself look like an idiot here, but I don't care. Just pure wrestling talent, none of them come close to Kofi. Kofi's way up there. When it comes to characterization, personality, getting yourself over, finding your spot in your promo, knowing how to work a crowd on your promo, thinking on the spot, improv, Big E is way above there over the other two. I mean, and again, Xavier's like middle ground, and for me, Kofi's right at the bottom when it comes to that. I don't think Kofi's good at promos at all. That's just personal preference. I don't think he's good at it. Big E's amazing, but I think when it comes to just purely technical wrestling, yes, Kofi's up there, but I think as an actual wrestler, I think Xavier Woods is better than E, and Big E's WWE champion. I just think Big E has that power game, that explosive power, and he can do, because he's so big, like a move that Xavier Woods does off the top rope, you go, wow, that was good. But then because Big E can do it, it kind of shits on Xavier a little bit, because you go, well, Big E's 6'4" and he's about 19 stone, and he's doing all this acrobatic stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I think someone who's massively underused, slightly going off topic, but it's someone that I really, really wanted to talk to you about. Dominik Dijakovic.
Yeah.
He's 6'7". Look what that man does. Look at what he's capable of. You know, he's so underutilized. Like he for me, it's like Keith Lee and Dijakovic changed the game for what big guys are capable of, because you know, we look back at Bam Bam Bigelow and Vader and Viserys and Big Show and all of these, you know, big guys, you know, Yokozuna. They're, you know, your favorite, great Khali. You know, they're all, you know, and now they've brought Omos in, and Omos very much is that old school, what they wanted from a big guy. But I felt like 2.5 years ago in NXT, Dijakovic and Keith Lee kind of made it extremely difficult for big guys in that industry, because when you're watching Dijakovic, okay, he's not big that way, but he's 6'7".
Yeah.
And you've got Keith Lee, who's only like 5'10", but he's massive, like a bloody, like a gorilla. He's a huge, monstrous man. When you see them doing backflips off the top rope, when you then see Finn Balor or Ricochet do the same move off the top rope, you go, mate, I've just seen a guy 5 times bigger than you do the exact same move, so now that looks like a pile of shit.
Yeah.
You know, when you see Dijakovic do something like that, when he's so big, you go, it's like McIntyre. When McIntyre does his suicide dive, you go, and then when you see someone like a Mustafa Ali or someone that's like a little flea do it, you go, well, it's not as impressive now.
Yeah.
Because
you don't
exactly.
Do you don't. Yeah. You're like, whoa.
So I think when it comes,
when you're smaller, I think, because you're like, well, I can do everything that they, you know, I don't have any limitations. I can do these sort of things. So it's not a sort of the wow factor's gone, isn't it? Really.
Exactly. So, yes, exactly. But this is what I'm trying to say. Big E, I think, I'm not saying Xavier Woods should be champion over him. I think Big E's earning. What I'm saying is, E is much better at the promos than Xavier, but I think Xavier's better than Kofi. I think when it comes to wrestling, Xavier isn't as good as Kofi, but I think he's a better wrestler than Big E. Just when it comes down to wrestling ability, I think Xavier's he's got a bigger repertoire, is capable of more. I just think Big E has that shock factor, because he's so freakishly powerful and he's still so athletic at the same time. It's why I'm surprised that that Cesaro hasn't held more belts and hasn't been WWE champion, because when you look at Cesaro, doesn't he kind of strike you as almost Vince McMahon's perfect guy?
Yeah, and I think that's why he's in that sort of position, because he's the guy that they can rely on, and he's quite happy to put people over.
Yeah,
you know, and maybe some stuff does come his way, and then it sort of goes away, if you know what I mean. Oh, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, okay, well, we'll send you for the Intercontinental, and then something else happens over here, and he's like, oh, actually, something else has come up, and I think he's just happy to go. Okay, you're the boss. You tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
It's like Carmella. I was watching on YouTube. Not the most recent one before. It was Carmella was on it, obviously.
Yeah.
So her and Corey Graves did it from their house, and Vic Joseph was being really nice because he said, "I know you're not going to say it, Corey, because if you say it, it's going to come because she's your girlfriend. It's going to come across as you're being biased." He said, but he said, "I honestly believe that Carmella is the most overlooked and underappreciated women's talent that we have."
Is that where she mentioned that she said she'd never be over because of the way she looked? Be over.
Yeah, she basically said what she said that I absolutely loved that I wanted to mention was because I think it does deserve a shout out. I think it's fantastic. It's like me and you were never a big Tyler Breeze fan, but when he made his comments about it when he left, when he was like, "Look, this is your job. Shut up
your mouth
and get on with it."
Yeah.
Exactly. And Carmella said something very, very similar, and it is interesting. She said, she went, "Do you really think that I want to wear that mask?" She's like, "No, I don't.
Yeah.
I turned up for a taping, and I literally got told, here's your mask. This is what you're wearing. Like, you don't have a choice."
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want to go out there and look like an idiot wearing this ugly mask." She said, "But I was asked to do it, and it's my job, so I did it." And I think it's such a difficult position that we're in. It's like the big man's available today, but we're a couple of hours from Bray Wyatt officially being out of his contract. I think it's midnight American time.
There's a lot of talk actually that he's not actually doing wrestling. He's going to Hollywood. Yeah, he's going to Hollywood. Apparently, he's been approached quite a few times. I'm quite happy for him to do that. And all the reports coming out as well that he was difficult to work backstage. We mentioned it on the show many times that he just became too difficult backstage to work. And I'm wondering why AEW and some other players have said, we want him, but we're not too sure yet. Because that's what it seems like. AEW said, we've spoken, but nothing's come of it. And I think there was sort of talk of him going to Impact. But then again, they were a bit like that with it. They were a bit, I don't know. And I'm wondering whether that's why they've heard the rumours. Hang on, he's massively difficult to work with.
Honestly, I like Windham. Like, I like him. Very, very, very small bits from... I mean, dotted about over the years, I found little bits of information where he's just been himself, but he's that private. It's very rare that you ever see him out of character where he's just being himself. But there are little clips out there, and he always strikes me as a really, really nice guy, really intense, but really nice guy. And I kind of feel like moving forward, the acting direction is the way to go with him because was he spectacular in the ring? We all loved his characters. We all loved Eater World Bray, Firefly Funhouse Bray, Fiend. He's a genius. Like, characterization and the characters that he could come up with and his promo skills and all of that. He was a genius. He was a creative god. But when it comes to actual wrestling, for me personally, I always felt like he would do the bare minimum that is required in the ring because he didn't need to, because he had the foresight to go, well, I'm all about character. I'm all about my character. I'm all about being Eater of World Bray, but Wyatt family, Firefly Funhouse Bray, and then obviously the Fiend. That's where he thrived, and that's even in a match. It was. I'm not saying he was a bad wrestler because he wasn't. I think he was a very, very good wrestler. What I'm saying is, he was miles better at the promo stuff and the characterization than in the ring. I always felt like he didn't really care that much about it. Like, if they said to him, you've not really got a character, you're just going out and you're just wrestling, you're not cutting promos, you're not putting on a mask, you're not doing any of that. I honestly would go, fuck you, I ain't wrestling. I truly believe that him as a man, that side's more important than the actual in-ring side. So for me, turning to acting is the perfect move for him because this is where he can really express himself creatively by I can see him being a writer for a horror movie.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
he's got the mind for it. And you know what? Best of luck to him.
Yeah.
I think we're in a difficult boat here because both me and you were such massive Fiend fans, and we really like him. That it's difficult to, because us as wrestling fans, we go, well, we're on Bray Wyatt's side. Like, creative does suck. Vince, you can be a bell end. Like, that promo is arse. And when you have a guy that is as talented as Bray Wyatt, why are you not going, here's your mic, go out and talk? Because if that was me, and if that was you, Kev, you would go, Bray, there's your mic, mate. Go out and say whatever the fuck you want. Because you're that good. Yeah. You're that good at it. You're a genius at it. Go out and do it.
Yeah.
So we agree with Bray, like going, I'm not saying that, blah, blah, blah. But you have got to see it from the other side. Is he has got to come across to Vince and creative and the other, Michael Hayes and all them as a whinging, petulant child, where Vince McMahon must be going, fucking you again. Every week, Bray. Every week it's you knocking on my door moaning about something. Like, it's got to get on your nerves. Like, it's got to get to a point where, okay, fight for what you believe in. And if you really believe, look, I'm not saying that because it's gonna damage my character and it's gonna undo the. Do you know what I mean? Voice your opinion, but it almost sounds to me like things that have come out after he's left, that it was to the extreme with Bray. Like, it was. But again, this is him. This isn't a criticism on him. He wanted it exactly how he wanted it. He was such a perfectionist. He wanted every single detail exactly how he had it in his head. And as soon as anyone tried fucking with the idea he had in his head, he was like, I ain't fucking doing this. But at the end of the day, WWE isn't his company. And it's got to get to a point where you need to do what your boss is telling you and not keep fighting against them.
Another reason why Blanchard hasn't gone anywhere, because she was equally as difficult to work with backstage as well. So, I just wondering whether they've just gone, look, we'll talk. It is. But I'm hoping he does quite well in Hollywood. I think that's a good fit for him. He gets more time at home, but he's doing the creative work, which is what he wants. So I'm hoping that maybe what happened with Brody has sort of affected him more than he realised, and was like, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe this wrestling lock isn't worth it. I'm more into the creative part, Maybe that's why, I don't know.
Yeah, all I want to say is I understand WWE's side of it, and I also understand Bray's side of it. And at the end of the day, I don't think in this, I don't think either of them are right. I think when you've got a talent as good as him, they should have given him more reign and more freedom. But I also think he probably needed to respect his boundaries a little bit more and understand that he was an employee, not an employer. And I don't think I can see both sides of it. I think it's a massive loss for WWE though.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It must have been, to release him like they did, it must have gotten to the point where they were like, no, this ain't happening anymore. Because merchandise wise, he was making crap loads. I mean, they were still releasing merchandise after his release.
Yeah.
And it always sells really well. So yeah, I was quite surprised when they let him go, because it sold very well. But like I said, it must be a point where they were just like,
exactly. But the strangest thing of the whole releasing was them then rehiring Zelina Vega, because they rehired Zelina Vega 3 days after they released her husband. It was so messy. Like, for me, that it still doesn't make sense why they rehired Zelina. Honestly, the only thing I can think of, how many experienced female wrestlers do they have? How many women's wrestlers do they have that they can bank on, that is still fit and is like, when you look at people like Tamina and Natalya and stuff, yes, they have the experience. But for me personally, it feels like Natalya's she's definitely going the way of her husband. She's going to be a great coach. She's going to be a phenomenal coach. She really is. But you can see that even when she does have a match, she's slowed down even more. And she's never been the fastest anyway. She's always been good technically. but she's slowed down even more. And what I'm trying to say is Zelina can still go. She can still go and go and go and go and go. She's still in great shape. She's still young enough where she can wrestle every single week and it not have that much effect on her body. But she has that level of experience that I think not that many have now that they have, because when you look at all the other top level women wrestlers that they have, Zelina Vega has more experience than Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks. She has more experience in the ring than them. She's been doing it longer than I have. You know, she's been wrestling for what, 12, 13 years. So I think the only reason they brought her back is because they've gone, well, we need someone to actually get in the ring and work with the likes of Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. And
maybe it was a bit of a backlash as well, because the only reason they released her is because she kept her sort of streaming accounts, didn't she?
Yeah.
And they were like, you've got to get rid of them, or you've got to partner up with us. And she sort of went, no. And then she sort of did yes, but then opened up a fans only account, which I don't know. It was a grey area, wasn't it? Because it was one that wasn't mentioned originally, and she never told them about it. Then it got posted online, and then it was a weird one. So she was saying that she cut all of her social media off, so she can't go on Twitch and things like that. But she said she was going to find a way around it. Then she opened up a fans only account, and people posted it like crazy online. And literally within like 3 or 4 days, she was gone.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, no one had ever said anything. No one had ever gone nuts like they did. Would they have bothered? Would they have gone, what's this fans only thing?
I mean, Adam Cole was a big streamer, and they've obviously got rid of him as well. But AJ Styles is a big streamer, and they've not got rid of him. But Xavier Woods, he streams. That fucker streams more than he wrestles. Probably part of his problem. It's probably why he's taking this long to get a singles run.
Yeah, well, that started when he got injured, didn't he? He got injured, and it was touch and go whether he'd return to wrestling or not, and they still hired him. So that's when he created Up, Up, Down, Down, which WWE were like, oh, you can do Up, Up, Down, Down. And then they were like, hang on, that's really popular, like mega popular. And then they gave him his belts, didn't they? You can buy the replica belts now, the Up, Up, Down, Down, Left, Right, all that sort of stuff. And I think it saved him, to be fair. I reckon they might have released him if it wasn't for the Up, Up, Down, Down, because it was getting other wrestlers in as well to play other wrestlers on games. You know, because I believe at one point they had the Young Bucks on it before AEW was a thing, and Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
So.
Why was Xavier not forced to start? Because he never started.
I think it was a bit more internal. I think it was a bit like he was making enough from it to sort of go, okay, you can have half of it. I'll keep it open. Because that was the whole thing about it, wasn't it? It was the whole thing of sort of saying, give us what you make, and then we'll give you a little bit of it, and we'll take the rest.
Again, Kev, we've got to not do what we want to do, because both of us want to fuck WWE. We're wrestling fans. We're behind the wrestlers. They don't get paid enough. Which, look, if you're not John Cena or Brock Lesnar, they don't get paid enough. Like, when you look at how much they actually earn, it's I've said it to you a million times. I've said it on air far more than enough. I'm not going to go over it again. But when you're watching stuff like Total Divas and Total Bellas, and you've got Nikki Bella saying to Daniel Bryan, who at that time had just done Miracle on Bourbon Street, he had both belts. He was the face of the company. Yes Movement was going really strong. And he's going, Nikki, how much fucking money do you think I have? I can't afford that. I can't afford half of that. And it's like, shit. But it's like, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it at all. But have you seen on Total Divas where Naomi and Jimmy Uso live?
Yeah.
It's a nice flat, but it's a tiny little flat.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think they don't get that much.
They travel well, aren't they? So I think owning lots of, because they have to pay for their own travel and their own accommodation out of their money as well, which I think is a bit of a, you know, I think if you're working for a company and they want you to go somewhere, I think they should pay at least your travel. or at least exactly. That comes out of.
But it's all that. It's they don't get paid enough anyway, but then they've got to pay for their own travel and their own accommodation. It's a shit show, really. When you look, and then when you look at AEW, all of it's paid for. They get paid more money, and they get paid more money anyway, and then they get the travel and accommodation on top, and they get more time off to rest and recover the body, which means they'll be able to have a longer career. The way that AEW is set up is it's a much better run company for the talent and looking after the talent, whereas I think WWE has really kind of slipped in that regard. But I think like they don't earn that much money, so for you to then say, well, I'm taking half of your Twitch stuff, because then you've got someone like Zelina Vega going, most of my income comes from this Twitch stream. If you take half, I'm struggling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was the point of it all, and that's why she vigorously stuck to it, and that's why Adam Cole said, "They ain't taking my script. They're not taking it away from me."
But Kev,
I will do anything.
But this is what I'm saying. We need to speak about both sides of it, because it's so easy to just go, you know, they should be paid more. Of course, they should be paid more. That kind of goes without saying.
They should be paid fairly, and I think
disgusting.
I think the problem is, I think it's unfair because as they're sort of independent contractors, it means they're all paid differently, and I think they should all be paid the same, you know. And if they make more money on merchandising, they get a bit more money, a bit like commission, but that doesn't happen.
No, but that is wrong that they don't get paid enough anyway. But then you take in, you know, half of what they're earning on the side, which is, you know, what is allowing them to live, essentially, you know, and with what they do for a living, putting the, you know, because I believe that they do. I think they do put their lives on the line. The moves that they do, all the safety precautions are there, and they taught how to do it safely, but it only takes a slight mistake or anything. Have a look at what's just happened to Cash Wheeler of FTR. Freak accident. He ripped his bicep off on a hook. I mean, did you see how deep that cut was?
Yeah.
It didn't just cut the skin; it cut through his bicep.
Yeah, punching his bicep.
It was a complete freak accident, but accidents happen. Look at Owen Hart.
Yeah. Lance Archer recently, he done a moonsault.
Exactly. And he even said, I've done that move 1,000 times and it's never, ever gone wrong. Accidents happen. It only takes the bottom of your shoes being a little bit wet that you're not expecting, your foot slip just as you're about to jump off. They do put the bodies and lives on the line. Of course they do. I think they should get paid more than they do. And if they are earning money off Twitch, when they're not getting paid enough anyway, I think it's taking the piss saying, oh, we want half. But I've got to throw in the other side of it. They're only earning that amount of money
because of where they work.
People know them because they work for WWE.
Yeah.
So as much as you can go WWE, you greedy, money grabbing, robbing bastards, you're already billionaires, and you're trying to take money off poor Thea Trinidad, who's only just scraping enough to get by every month. You know, but at the same time, they are earning money off their name. You know,
exactly. Like, that was the whole thing about it, wasn't it? I think that was the whole.
My only issue was Zelina Vega wasn't doing it because this is what she was saying. She were a clever fucker about it. I'll take my hat off to her. She was very clever with the way she went about this. She named a Twitch stream Thea Trinidad, which is her real name. She didn't name it Zelina Vega. She was like, "Well, I've not. It's not my WWE name. It's my real name." But their point still stands. If WWE could go, okay, let's have a look at what percentage that are watching you on a daily basis only know who you are because they see you on our TV wrestling for us. That's the only reason why 95% of those people are even watching you. But then you look at AJ Styles and Adam Cole and Xavier Woods. They were streaming under their WWE names. Their Twitch handles, so it was Adam Cole. You know, it was AJ Styles. So they kind of were using the WWE brand to earn extra money for themselves. So you can understand WWE go, well, hang on a minute.
You're earning money for exactly. I think it's like you're saying, we can see both sides of it, but it's a little bit of give and take, isn't it? It's a bit of give and take, you know. I've said this many times as well with Paige. Would Paige be as popular if she wasn't in WWE? Would she be this popular on Twitch? Because it all came out, all the money came out, and she was earning like 6 figures or 7. 6 figures she was earning. She earns like something 500,000 a year from Twitch. I'm like, gee, that's a lot of money. And then I was like, but she's getting that from her being Paige from WWE. Now, if she was just normal Paige from Kent or Norwich, say, would she be getting that money? Would anyone know she was?
She shouldn't be getting anything. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, but she
people owe something to WWE. You know, this is another thing as well. You've got to think they owe something to them, because without them, there would be nobodies, really. I mean, even if they're in Impact, they wouldn't really be as big as they are because they're not, you know what I mean? Because they're in WWE.
Yeah, look, it's like, but another thing, because she's injured and she's not currently on TV or anything, and she's not doing obviously the after the backstage with Renee Young anymore, but she's still contracted to WWE. Like, it was like 3 years ago, she signed a 10-year contract. Like, this is what you got to think. People don't realize that Undertaker retired. Oh, that's a shame. After all them years in a social, you know, he's been affiliated with WWE. Now he's retired. You know, the same year that he retired, he signed a 15-year contract.
Yeah,
which for me is really clever of WWE, because they're going, the only way you can turn up to do meet and greets and sign-ins and all this stuff is as the Undertaker for us.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, really clever.
And I think with Paige, I mean, they're quite happy. Obviously, they're quite happy for her to just wait out the contract.
She needs to kind of keep her fingers off Twitter, I think, mate, because I think this is just my opinion. She's ruining her own comeback, because these cryptic tweets, they're not really that cryptic.
No,
like they're
getting ready and doing training.
You are basically telling us that you're training and you're coming back soon. And look, I'm gonna call it now. I want to be the first to call it. Royal Rumble, she comes out number 30 and wins it. That's what I'm saying. I think she's going to come out as number 30 during the Women's Royal Rumble, and she'll win it. And she'll win the Rumble. Because that's what I would do.
Yeah.
If you're Vince, she has forget Twitch. Like, she's earning so much money off Twitch now, but she had a massive fan base when she was wrestling. Massive. You know, the Americans loved her.
She was the underdoggy sort of person, wasn't she? She had the look. She had the look, but she was like, she come from a normal background, and people could see themselves in her and go, I see myself in Paige, and she's doing it, she's killing it. And it just ran. And WWE was really good with that, because they didn't just stagger her, they fucking ran with it full speed. They went, yeah, fucking go for it. We'll give her the title the first night on Raw. We'll run with it, you know? And they did, and she done really well.
She was amazing. But she was an amazing wrestler. Like, again, it's all opinion based. Paige, for me, was the first female wrestler that I seen that I went, fuck, she can really, really go. She can really wrestle. Like, it weren't like, look, Beth Phoenix had her strengths. She also had her weaknesses. Trish Stratus, when you look back, when you think back to Trish Stratus back then, she was really good back then, like Trish and Mickey and Lita. But when you go back now and watch their matches, when we used to seeing Sasha Banks and Paige and Charlotte and Asuka, you look back at them and you go, you actually weren't that good. You were just good for that particular time. For me, even though you had like AJ Lee there, that it was good. You had both Bella Twins there that were good, but I don't think either of them were anywhere near as talented as Paige was. Just pure in-ring wrestling.
She was the start of the new women's evolution, weren't she? She was the start of it. with Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha Banks, all them. But she was the start of it.
Started it all. Yeah. In my opinion, Paige started it all. The whole thing, because without Paige. And I've had this conversation with many wrestling fans. I've had conversations with I know a Swedish guy. I know quite a lot of Americans. I know a couple of Canadians. They all say the same thing, that when they were watching it back then, it made you go from women's matches. It's Maurice versus Maria Kanellis. I'm going for another beer. Back in a minute. Do you want anything? Whereas now you go, you know, who's this? Like, and okay, she was young, she was fit. Yeah, I get all that, but you would watch her wrestle because she was a great wrestler. She just moved. I'm the least sexist person that you would meet, and it might sound sexist. This she moved like a male wrestler.
And that is why. That is why as well, because she was one of those ones. I know Charlotte did, but she was. I think one of the ones that actually she wasn't wrestling other women. They didn't just look at her and go, "Okay, she was wrestling everyone." When she was with her family, and she started, I think, younger than Charlotte did.
Oh,
Paige, 10, 11, I think, when she first started doing for her family, and 13. Sorry, my wife just said 13.
Yeah.
So she started when she was 13, and you know what I mean. Over in America, I don't think they even teach you really until you're like 15, 16. So she had a lot of in that already, and when they were putting on the shows, the family, as you've seen from Fighting With My Family, she used to wrestle her brother, her mother, her dad. You know, she was going up against the blokes. And I think it showed, because she come in, she was like, she was doing stuff, and they were like, oh, I don't know. Like before, it was diva searches. You know, it was these models that couldn't even do it. You know, Stacey Keebler.
Yeah. Eve Marie.
Like, Jesus Christ. Like, and then Paige was like a wrestler, and I think it was the first. She was
the first one.
She's not the first women's wrestler. You know, you had people like Jazz, though. I think going back in time when Jazz was there, I felt that she was just held back a little bit. I mean, Jazz was a phenomenal wrestler when she was in ECW, but I think with WWE they tamed her right down, and she couldn't do what she wanted.
But Jazz never gave me the feeling that Paige gave me, and it was just
no.
I don't know how else to describe it other than when I was watching it, it felt like shit. This girl's changing wrestling forever. Because you watched her wrestle, and you would think that you was watching just a man's wrestling match, one of the men wrestle, because she was just so good. You know,
problem is that she was going up against women that couldn't match her.
Yeah,
and that was a good thing as well. It's like couldn't match her ability.
But this is why I feel so sorry for her, because she paved the way for it all. She started it all. And she's been robbed of those highlight matches against Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Banks and Bayley. And she should have been headlining Wrestle. Like, when you think of like Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks headlining WrestleMania, when you think of Charlotte and Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch headlining WrestleMania, Paige should have been doing that.
Yeah.
And of course, her injury stopped her. But I kind of wanted to stop tweeting now, because she's, there's a picture of her Divas belt, a picture of Fighting With My Family poster, and then her wrestling boots on the side of the she's going, it's just, come on, like you're basically telling us that you're coming back, and to be honest, I don't want to know. I want to be tuning in without a clue. And then number 30 hits and a music hits and everything goes pink, and you go ape shit, because Edge, like, they kept Edge that silent. Like, yes, there was rumors, but Kev, there's rumors every fucking year. Like, for the last 9 years, there was rumors. Edge is coming back. I'm telling you, like, there were rumors every year, and then so there was nothing concrete. And then his music hit at Royal Rumble, and you lose your mind. Like, you fall off the sofa, because you think, shit, this was my guy. This was my favorite when I was a kid, and he's back. And I never thought I'd ever see him wrestle again, and he's back. It's, and I think Paige, for what she's done for women's wrestling, she deserves this. She deserves to come back and
win. Do a lot. I think she's still young enough.
She's 26.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to put it into perspective. Edge is 48.
Yeah.
And Edge looks great, by the way. Like, Edge versus Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel was, in my opinion, one of the best matches I've seen in years. I think it was an incredible wrestler. And the fact that he's capable of that at 48 years old is incredible. But Paige is 22 years younger than him. So if she comes back now, she's got a good, if she can stay fit, she's got 10, 15 years at the top. Another point that I want to mention, Charlotte.
Oh yeah, I want to say about Charlotte. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with her. I'm wondering whether she's seen AEW and have gone, hang on, that's some last couple of months she's been. I'll tell you what it's been like. It's been John Moxley. Do you remember when Dean Ambrose was coming to the end of his contract?
Yeah.
And he just didn't give a shit. And he was going out and like, yeah, all right, and all this sort of stuff. That reminds me of what Charlotte's doing right now. Because it started off with Nia Jax. Do you remember when she slapped Nia Jax properly? And Nia was like, what are you playing at? And pushing her away. And she was pushing her. And then they were proper slapping each other. And then obviously with the belt thing recently, and apparently tension has been building backstage for quite a while between her and the other women. I've got a funny feeling that she's seen what's happening at AEW and gone, I want a piece of that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on.
Because I know you're a Charlotte fan. Has she got a bit big for her boots?
I think she fought. I think she was big. I think she was the fucking top. But I think now what's happening is with all the releases with AEW and things like that, I think she believes she should be up here, and WWE have gone, well, no, you're all the same. And she's like, oh no, I'm big. I'm the Roman Reigns of the women's division. She's like, and they're like, oh no, all the women are the same. They're all like, you've got Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bailey. You're on the same level as them. She's like, oh, I'm better than them. I should be higher up. I should be this.
But she is as a character, as a wrestler, as a character and as a wrestler. I think she's better than all of them. Like, in terms of actual in-ring ability, I think only Asuka when she was at her best, in NXT. I think only Asuka really comes close to Charlotte in terms of actual talent and ability.
I think what happened with everything that's happened with AEW and with her husband going there, and I reckon she got probably a lot of heat from Ric Flair. From the incident that happened with Ric Flair, I reckon a lot of people going up to her, and I think her credibility has slightly shifted because I think they've gone, oh, your dad's a bit like, you know what I mean? And she's just gone, shut up, I'm the biggest. It doesn't matter what my dad, I'm here not because of him, I'm just wondering whether.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think you're right. I think she's become very, and I'm not there, and I only really see her on TV. But bits that I've read and that I've heard, and they are only rumors, so I must go out and say that it is only rumors. I've not got any evidence, but based off what I've been hearing and reading for over the last 12 months, I think she's getting a bit too big for her boots. I think she's getting a bit obnoxious and a bit arrogant, and she
was supposed to hand Becky it, and she threw it.
Yeah.
There was an altercation backstage, and then she was asked to leave the building over
and now
everyone.
They've cancelled all of her media.
Yeah, she had loads of media calls beforehand, and
they've cancelled them all. Yeah. But they've cancelled them all because they can't trust her to keep her mouth shut. WWE have cancelled all of her media stuff because they're thinking she's a fucking liability. Do you remember when Ambrose had finished his match and he got beat again? I think he got beat off fucking EC3.
Yeah.
And he'd come back from a commercial and he was sat in the middle of the ring with a mic in his hand. And then he got about 5 words out. He said, so, first of all, I just wanted to thank my fans for the last however many years I've been here. And they cut his mic off. And it was like, oh, great. Like, WWE couldn't trust him and they didn't know what he was going to say. And that's the way it's going with Charlotte. Is they've cancelled all of her media responsibilities because they don't trust her. They don't know what she is. She going to get onto? Is she going to do a YouTube video with Renee Paquette and just slag everything off? But
I think they might have stopped it because of that incident. So they might have gone, oh, we don't want that coming out. So because they're like, oh, we said there was a backstage incident, and she would have gone, yeah, well, this is what happened, and you know what I mean. Everyone would have gone, oh, Charlotte said this, and in everything, even in life, right? There's always two sides to every story, and with her just doing the media stuff on her own, it meant that her side was only getting shown, and I'm wondering whether they've gone, we can't do anything because they're going to ask that question, and she's going to go her way. So,
and it's almost like, obviously we weren't there. We don't know who was being the bigger bell end. Was it Charlotte or was it Becky? I don't know. I've got a feeling that it was probably Charlotte. But I think Becky probably. I think Becky Lynch now could probably be a bit, you know. Oh, hang on a minute, I'm the man.
Good and very vocal coming back. I mean, she said she didn't want to beat Bianca like she did at SummerSlam. She went, "Do I really want that to go down? No, I fucking didn't." She went, "I wanted it to go down totally different." She goes, "But they told me to go out there, do this thing, 2-minute roll up of one." She goes, "Did I like it? No, but that's what I was told to do." And she said she hated it, and you know, which is good because she's coming out and going, "Look, I didn't like it, but I hated it, and that's what happened. So deal with it," sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering whether they've looked at her and gone, "Okay, she's willing to do what she's told." And I'm wondering whether Charlotte's now starting to go, "Well, I'm bigger than everyone else. So if I say something goes, it goes." And they're like, "Whoa, no one is bigger than WWE." And she's probably, "But I am. Yeah. I'm bigger. I'm the biggest woman here." It's like, well, hang on, you're not bigger than everyone. You know.
I think that's probably exactly how it has all gone down. Now, I can empathise with Charlotte a little bit because I think what's gone down over the last 12 months hasn't done her any favours because Andrade obviously left and he didn't WWE didn't want to lose Andrade.
No.
WWE didn't want to lose him. They had plans for him. And Andrade was going, I'm not like, are you going to give me a belt? And there was like, well, no, we need to build you. Well, no, I'm better than this. You're having me go out there and have a 3-minute match against Humberto Carrillo. I'm better than this.
Is how was that paid off for him in AEW?
But mate, how was it paid off for Aleister Black? Me and you was going, what a fantastic move. This is for Malachi Black, AEW. You know, they'll give him creative control. Aleister Black's a genius. AEW signed him. They will let him do his Malachi Black thing. And WWE restricted him and suffocated him. AEW will let him blossom. And they fucking haven't. And Andrade's been there for about 9 or 10 months now. He's had about 3 matches.
Yeah. And he's contracted for 3 years. So
this is what I'm saying. But this is what is going to continue to happen. Going to AEW now isn't the best move for your career because there's too many there that
too much talent there.
People like Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, they've got too big of a name. They have to be on TV a lot.
Maybe that's why. Because just before coming on here, it was put out about the ratings because Dynamite was back this week. I don't know what people think about the ratings, but it is a sign of how popular the show is, whether it's a demo or whatever. But AEW got under 1 million views this Wednesday, which is the lowest rating it's got since July. And it had CM Punk and had the Hangman Page and the Elite and all, and it's like, and people are switching off, and it got under 1 million. So,
I've seen a tweet from a guy, and I usually do send you stuff that I've seen. The only reason why I didn't send it you is because I probably could have done, actually. I could have blurred out their name. I don't think he wanted it to be known that it was him because he's very active on Twitter and on Facebook and stuff. And he's I don't think he wanted the mess, the social media storm that would have come his way if so He sent it me privately. He was at the Rampage show. I think it was at either this week or the week before, and he sent me pictures. About halfway through the taping, half of them left.
Yeah. That was reported. Yeah, that was reported from
mainstream now. Yeah. It's gone mainstream.
They said after the first match, because there was 3 on the card. The first match was Daniel Bryan. After which, everyone left. Everyone walked out, and it's like, whoa. Maybe we can talk about this. Yeah, maybe we can talk about this on the next video.
Yeah,
AEW.
Yeah. We'll talk about AEW on the next video.
Yeah. But we're an hour now, so yeah, we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. I can't wait for our next one, which will be really soon, hopefully.
Yeah. So, it'll be within the next couple of days, guys. We'll blast another one out for you.
Yeah. But anyway, I've been Kev.
I've been Dan. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you at the next one. Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. What's happened here? There we go.